Here is the record of economic calamity that Kamala is desperate for voters to ignore. She cast the tie-breaking votes that caused record inflation. She cast the votes. She's trying to blame Biden, as you know.
That was former President Trump just moments ago. We're getting highlights of his press conference happening now in Bedminster, New Jersey. Reports also coming in the Trump campaign will counter-program against the DNC next week. And President Trump and his team will go to the battleground swing states. Let's bring in Trump campaign Deputy Communications Director Caroline Sunshine with her debut. Caroline, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. You know, minority voters now reacting positively to Trump. A new Fox News poll, it's Trump +1 over Harris nationally. Trump has 26% of the black vote, that's rising, and 52% of the Hispanic vote. He's talking right now. What do you make of all this?
Oh, well, absolutely. You know, you have, whether you are black, white, or brown in this country, everybody's money is green, and nobody has enough of it thanks to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. You know, President Trump said it best himself yesterday on stage. He said the woman who broke the economy isn't going to be the one to fix it. And Americans, regardless of race, regardless of gender, are hurting. You know, if you go to the grocery store, no matter if you're black, white, or brown, cereal's the same price. Gas is still unaffordable. Baby formula is unaffordable. Gasoline's gone up 50%. You look at the way Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have killed our once great American energy sector. That's the #1 way that we bring down prices in this country. And so as you see President Trump in Bedminster right now with all of those groceries behind him that no Americans can afford. And of course, what is Kamala Harris's suggested solution to this? Not to take accountability, instead to blame everybody else and suggest price gouging, a socialist measure that happens in third world countries. This country deserves so much better than that, and that's what they had under President Trump with Maganomics. It's what they'll have again when he's back in the White House. Yeah,
President Trump, former President Trump just said that's what causes socialist nations. Kamala's idea tomorrow on price control. Steve Ford is going to talk about that in a second. He just said that Kamala declared tackling inflation will be a day one priority for her, when day one for her was nearly 4 years ago since she's been in the White House. So they're more of the same big government answers when they never created a job or worked in the private sector versus those like Trump, who did.
No, that's exactly right. President Trump says it better than I ever could. Her day one was 3.5 years ago, and Americans are asking themselves the famous Ronald Reagan question, am I better off than I was 4 years ago? And by every economic metric, they aren't. You have to make $100,000 on average in this country to afford the median home price right now. I hear from young people all the time, the #1 concern for them is they can't afford a home. Rent and housing prices are more unaffordable than it's ever been. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have given free flights and free housing to illegal immigrants while punishing the American people. You look at the credit card APR rate in this country, you look at the number of bankruptcies we're seeing. No matter if you are a business owner, if you have a young family, we're seeing seniors having to come out of retirement. They can't afford their bills. They're on fixed incomes. They can't afford their medications. We're seeing that the average American family, it's costing them $28,000 extra a year just to live. This is what Kamalanomics is. Kamala Harris has said also, you know, Bidenomics, which really, as I said, is just Kamalanomics. She's on stage every day. She was just on stage with Joe Biden today saying she's so proud. You have the White House saying there's no daylight between her and Joe Biden. They're very proud of Bidenomics. They think it's worked great for the American people. I mean, respectfully, you would have to have your head as far out of reality as Kamala Harris does to think that this American economy is working for anybody other than career politicians like Kamala Harris, who, as you said, who have never worked a private sector job in her entire life.
Watch former President Trump at his rally in North Carolina yesterday. Listen to this. This really stood out.
Kamala has declared that tackling inflation will be a day one priority. Think of it, for her, but day one for Kamala was 3.5 years ago. She says her plan is going to be and bring down prices. Well, why didn't you do it? You've been there 3.5 years. Kamala Harris won't end the economic crisis. She will only make it worse. She's doing a plan. You know, she's going to announce it this week, maybe. She's waiting for me to announce it so she can copy it. Everything Kamala Harris touches turns bad. It all turns bad. San Francisco was a great city. Now it's unlivable. California was a great state. Now it's unlivable. She breaks everything, just like she broke the border, broke our economy. On my first day back in the Oval Office, I will sign an executive order directing every cabinet secretary and agency head to use every tool and authority at their disposal to defeat inflation and to bring consumer prices rapidly down.
Do you hear that, Caroline? He wants to deploy federal agencies in his cabinet to bring inflation down. What do you think of that? How's he going to do that?
Well, as we remember, when President Trump was in office, inflation was at 1.9%. As President Trump said, you want a little bit. You don't want it to be completely at zero. You want it to be a little bit, but you certainly don't want it where it's at now, where we've seen it climb, over 20%, thanks to the failed economic policies. This is intentional, right? This economy didn't happen by accident. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden broke it, and the people who broke it are not going to be the ones to fix it. But you know what does fix it? Is unleashing our great American energy sector. It's the #1 thing we can do to bring down prices in this country. You look at our great states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, West Virginia. They are the #3 largest natural oil reserve in the world. President Trump's policy, drill, baby, drill. I'll be shocked when Kamala Harris decides to copy that one next week, too. As President Trump mentioned, her only policy ideas are plagiarizing ours. He announced his no tax on tips policy. You remember Kamala Harris coming out trying to claim that as her own. She really just should have said she endorsed ours. But again, our energy sector is the key to bringing down the prices on all of our household goods that Americans are struggling to afford.
Caroline Sunshine, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you so much.